Okay, I wanted to test my new Cricut Joy. And one of the things I love cutting are foam thingies. I use these for so many things. They make great stamps if I mount them. Like, hold on. Okay, these I cut from the Sizzix Big Shot, yeah, and out of this foam. And I just glue them to a piece of packing material, stiff. I rub magic markers or whatever colors I want on them and stamp them. And they're quite lovely. In fact, I just did a test of this one and it's stamped beautifully. And this one. Now I do have the dies, but for someone who doesn't have the dies, they can design something on the Cricut. You know, bring an image in and then trace it, or whatever it is they do, bringing the image in. At any rate, I did have this image in my uploads, and I think it's from a die cut as well, on the Cricut Joy. And unlike other experiments I have made with this foam, it didn't cut. Years ago I tried it with a regular Cricut cutting machine, didn't do a very good job, but the little Joy is just amazing. So now this foam is not your ordinary craft foam. It's extremely thin. I bought it several years ago, and I bought up the supply, literally, of my local Dollar Tree. It was in the kids section play, but it's a lot thinner. It's that EVA type foam, otherwise known as craft foam, but I think it's like maybe 0.5 millimeter, as opposed to 1 millimeter, or even worse, 2 millimeters. So all I'll tell you though is this is a rather intricate first test cut. I haven't even pulled out all of the other stuff. There's more little pieces in here that just come apart beautifully. Oh my goodness, look at this one. Just pull it carefully. And there's probably one in here too. Maybe, no. I don't know. There certainly is down here. Look, little tiny pieces pull out. Usually your fingernail dragged along them. There's one in there I can get out with a pin. Look at this. Look. So if I took some packing material, I was just on a lark. I thought, you know, I've been cutting watercolor paper, and it cuts beautifully. And so I was thinking, you know, watercolor paper is just almost as thick as this stuff. Not quite. This might just be a tad thicker. I put it on an old mat. I was afraid to put it on a new mat because it might hold too tight. Look at those fine little cuts. And I used the heaviest cardstock setting and then increased the pressure. You only have a choice of the default less pressure or more. So I clicked on more, and this was a one-pass deal, and I could get a pin. I haven't done it yet, but I could get a pin and get this last little tiny piece out. Yeah, I can. It wants to come. There it is. And wow, that's all I can say. That's a game changer for me, because usually I have to go to my Silhouette Cameo, and which is upstairs. This little Cricut Joy, the profile of it, and the cost. You know, this year at Christmas, I paid under $100 for it. And look what you can do. Is this amazing? If you can get a hold of this foam, I don't know where you would get it. at this point. I have a huge, you know, plastic box full of it because I was using it with my clay when I was doing ceramic clay. It makes a great impression because the clay does not stick to it. I'm trying to get that last little piece out. And like I said, if I just adhere this to packing material, it makes a great stamp. And I think there's one in here where I doubled it up. I cut 2 of them. Maybe it's this one here. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. See, I actually doubled. I didn't do a perfect job of doubling it. I glued them together. But that's what that is. It's 2 of them. So it's just, you know, a little bit better. But I will tell you, you get a perfect image just like that. Perfect image with just one. And that's what this is here. Just one. I don't know if I use this one or another one, but you can see. Whoops. I have it backwards. Yeah. But anyway, for those of you, this one here you can see I've already used. Usually when I stamp it on paper, something takes all the ink off it. I don't even wash them. And I have a whole bucket full of things that I have cut with the foam on my Cameo. And intricate designs like that, which I still have the pattern for. But just being able to do that downstairs on this tiny little machine that has the tiniest little profile is quite remarkable. I really didn't think it would work, and it did. So there you go. And if I push this into clay, it will create a protruded image. If I rolled a piece of ceramic clay, I would have to figure out how to put some of these pieces back down in there, which I've already thrown away. But that's another story altogether. In some of my videos, when I use this as an innie and an outie, I call it. This would be the outie, and this would be the innie. If I roll this in clay, it pushes it inside. If I roll this into clay, it forces the clay up. But I usually use packing tape before I remove all the bits and pieces, and the pieces all stay on the packing tape, and I can use that as a stamp. But I can leave this piece right in here that is landlocked. I call it a landlocked piece because you see that? It's that one. If I found that piece, well, here it is, actually, son of a gun, and just kind of glued that onto the tape. Let's see if that's how it would go. Yeah, sort of like that. Then when I use this as a roll it onto clay, it would, I might have to do something with this one down here too, that little piece, but it's not worth it. I'm not going to even fool with it now. But what I have done in previous videos is I use packing tape before I remove it off the mat, and that way I preserve all of the bits and pieces that might go flying because they're not attached to anything. But the key point here is the Cricut Joy cut this nearly perfectly, really. It was only one pass. I was afraid to make it go twice because it looked like it was pretty good, and it was. So for anybody who can get a hold of this very thin foam and it's flat, you can use these for many, many things.